welcome to the dreadies. We're doing a review today. Godzilla Vs Kong. We've got a guest with us, Chris from Movie Time with Chris.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing, Chris?
Hi, guys. How's everything going?
Fantastic. It's a sunny day here in England. It's actually
It's
really
a
nice.
sunny
We're not
day
in
here.
England. Are we pretending we're in England? I don't blame you. England's so much better.
Yeah, it's a sunny day here in Florida as well, sunny Florida. But yesterday was very dreary and cloudy, rainy all day. So it was nice to have a sunny day.
Yeah. It's nice to have a few sunny days. We don't get too many. But the summer's coming, so we'll have at least 6 weeks, won't we?
I mean, global warming is great for the UK. You know, we're good. You lot have problems.
Well, I mean, if you go with the day after tomorrow, it gets colder with global warming. So, I mean,
Yeah. We
Well,
would
yeah.
have moved by then. We would have moved hopefully to the Caribbean or Africa or something, somewhere warmer.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll still be trying to get into Mexico like they are in the movie.
Yeah, never letting you in, Hussy.
So did you saw the movie Godzilla vs Kong?
Yes, I did. I watched it on the 31st when it came out.
Yeah.
So I was really excited to see it. I had seen Godzilla and Godzilla King of Monsters in theater.
Yeah.
I saw Kong Skull Island on a streaming service, so I didn't get to see that one in theater, but I really enjoyed the movies. I liked where they were going with it. So to see these two titans battle it out, I was super excited for it.
Yes, it was really good. It was really good. We watched the King of Monsters before we watched it. We've seen that one in cinema as well before we watched it. It came out April the 1st here. We really enjoyed it. You really enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So what would you rate it out of 10?
Ooh, out of 10, I'd probably give this maybe a 7.5, maybe a 7 to 7.5. There were a few things I didn't enjoy about it, but overall, for what it promised of Godzilla vs Kong, you got that. I mean,
Definitely.
The fight scenes in this movie were absolutely epic. Watching them destroy, what was that, Hong Kong? It was just, I mean, absolutely epic. And
Yes.
it gave you that. Some of the dialogue I could have done without, some of the storyline I could have done without. But again, overall, for what it promised, it definitely delivered.
What
So,
storyline was their dialogue?
It
The
was-
word dialogue. You must be talking about Schneider. Oh, wrong one. This was talking.
No,
This was kicking
there
ass
was some
from the start.
talking. There was some talking.
There has to be a
you know.
little bit of talking. Oh gosh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the conspiracy theorist guy, his talking, that was great because he was just hilarious through the movie. He added that humor. But, you know, the one scene with, I can't remember her name in the movie, but Millie Bobby Brown, when she goes and she sees her father right after Godzilla attacked Pensacola,
Yeah.
that scene and that camp, they could have cut that scene out. There
Yeah.
was no-
Now you're pointing that out. That's right. It was pointless, really, wasn't it?
When she
Yeah.
what?
There was a bit where she went and had an argument with her dad, and then she just went off to Hong Kong. Well, she didn't go off to Hong Kong, but ended up in Hong Kong.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there was giving you a reason to how she ended up in Hong Kong. So they had to set it up, or she would just be a bad child for no reason.
Yeah, she was.
So they gave you the storyline to why then she was just like, screw you, Dad, I'm gonna go off and do something else.
But
It
I
was
mean,
flimsy.
we could kind of see that she wanted to do her own thing, and she was going to anyway with Godzilla King of Monsters. You know,
Yeah.
she kind of
Yeah, but they started a new one.
She was going.
They have
she
to
was
still
going
ta-
to. I know, but it's still the same character, so the character still carries over into the
Are
new
you
one.
kidding me? Spider-Man starts
So-
again every time. No one's saying nothing about Spider-Man. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can if you want to, but
Yeah.
we're talking about a different universe now.
What
Is
did-
it?
What do you rate?
Oh.
What do you rate it?
10.
Yeah, you really enjoyed it, didn't you? I mean, that's it. The thing is, I rated it a 7, 8 at the most, but it is, if you're nitpicking, then yes, you can find there are massive holes in it. Right,
Yes.
but if you're just watching it for enjoyment purposes, then it gives, like you say, what delivers.
Listen, if you can watch the Power Rangers,
no, I
right,
can't.
then this is a 10. You know?
Yeah, no, there were some pretty big holes, and there's a big one now in Hong Kong, apparently,
Yeah.
leading to the
Well,
center
yeah.
of the earth. But yeah, I mean, but overall, the movie was very good and enjoyable. I'd recommend it to anyone.
Yes.
Even if they haven't seen the others, you can kind of get a quick glimpse of what happens
Yeah.
in the opening credit scene.
Yes.
You know, they talk about Godzilla, how he beat the other monsters. They talk
Yeah.
about Kong with Skull Island, how he beat the skull monsters or whatever. And so even if you've never seen the other three, you could just watch this movie alone and still really enjoy it. You won't be lost.
No.
It's like our soaps.
Yeah.
You just watch one and you watch all three of them.
And they did give a recap at the beginning in the title screens anyway, didn't they? They gave the recap
Yes.
of what previously happened. And they spent a lot of time on the CGI when it came to Godzilla and King Kong. I mean, that was 10 out of 10 for
Yes.
making them. And they humanized King Kong in a way that made you want to root for him, even though you knew he was going
Their
to lose.
CGI
So.
was better, right, than that other Snyder movie. And he had more money.
She's ragging on the Snyder movie non-stop.
She is.
Yeah. I don't blame her.
But you know what? It's kind of true. There were scenes with the Snyder cut where you're just like, I mean, you can spot the CGI.
Exactly.
And-
You're supposed to spot it.
You know, if you can spot it, it's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I notice things a lot more now since I started working with a green screen in
Yeah.
the background. But with Godzilla vs Kong, it's like flawless. You really think that
Yeah.
there's a huge ape and a huge lizard monster, and it's just, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
Really good.
Because it was like Thanos. It's obviously not real, but they humanized it. I mean, like there's a giant lizard. I mean, how is that real? So they humanized it in a way you could tell he was pissed off. You could tell he was ready to hurt Kong. You could tell he was angry. You could tell he didn't care. They were able to portray some kind of emotion in it, which was great because it was all created. You know, when they did Ray Fisher in a cyborg, that was very clunky at times. You know.
Yeah, it was.
Very, very
it was
clunky.
almost, they wanted you to feel for Cyborg, but you almost ended up disliking him.
Oh yeah.
Instead of empathizing with him.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, you know, you empathize with Kong. They took him
Definitely.
from Skull Island, and you know, now they're taking him somewhere, and he's stuck on this boat, and he's chained up, and
Yeah.
he's just not happy, and you feel it. Then they did such a good job with it. They really did.
I think the best human character in there was a little girl who didn't talk.
Yes.
You know, her interaction acting made you listen and feel something. You know, the other actors you could have gone and done without. You
I
know?
could do that everybody because Godzilla spoke through his eyes. Did you see when he kind of was working out whether he didn't like Kong or he was like friends with Kong
Yeah.
at the end, and they just looked at each other and he actually told a story.
Yeah.
Even we understood what they were saying to each other.
Yeah.
He
Right.
really did. It was
Yeah.
so funny that you mentioned that, because I was just talking about that earlier. I was talking about The Dark Knight Rises, and I was talking about Tom Hardy. And, you know, in that movie, he's playing Bane,
Yes.
but
great actor.
you see his acting and his emotion
Yeah.
all through his eyes, because
Yeah.
his nose and mouth are covered up, but
Yeah.
he says everything through his eyes. And it's so funny because I was just talking about that. And now you're saying the same thing about Godzilla, and
Yeah.
it's so true.
That whole movie was carried by Godzilla, right? That, I mean, my man can do sign language,
Yeah.
right? He can do a lot more than that. What he's saying is he's so clever, right, that he can just, you know, look at somebody and work out communication, what
Yeah.
they're actually saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because how long would he had to just watch people do things with their hands and hear the tones and in their voices, right, to work out how to communicate with the little girl.
Yeah.
He did that very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's cool. So you had Kong, you had Godzilla, you had the little girl, and you had the black man, and everybody else could have done without.
Yeah. Especially the boy, Millie
Yeah.
Bobby Brown, the boy.
Yeah.
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 He was just, I don't know, I guess he was trying to add a comedic presence, but the conspiracy guy, he was the comedic
Yeah.
part of the movie. You just needed him.
And you needed the people, because no way Kong was going to get to the center of the earth without
the
a
people.
mechanism to get him there or a reason to go there. And there's no way he was going to be able to even compete with Godzilla without having the axe. And then there was no way that there was going to be a team up if there wasn't, the Mecha Godzilla to fight against. So they used him
it's
as
a shame that when he went to his world, there weren't just like a load of them.
Yeah.
He
was on his own.
He should have found some family that he couldn't even maybe stay with forever, but at least knew there was there and he wasn't on his own.
Well, after King of the
it would've been
Monsters,
nice.
after King of the Monsters, I didn't know how they were gonna do another one anyway. So now they've done Godzilla vs King Kong, which I didn't expect either. I'd like to see another movie. I have no idea what they do on the fourth one, but I didn't know what they were going to do on the third one, to be honest. So
I would like to see another one as well. But I mean, even if you look at the old movies, and I was talking about this with my mother yesterday, I was saying how, I like King Kong. I was rooting for him through this, but I feel he always gets gypped as far as movies, because with all the King Kong movies, it's always the same story. He's on an island, they bring him to America, he climbs the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
It's been the same since 1933 with the first one. But with Godzilla, he's the one that's always fighting all these different monsters. But with King of Monsters, like you said, he kind of towered over all of those. So where do they go next?
Yeah.
The only other person he fought aside from King Kong in the old movies was Mecha Godzilla, and we just saw that fight as well. So I want to see more. I just don't know what they're going to do with it.
Aliens.
Aliens, yes, maybe.
It's not really that. It's because America is supposed to be the apex predators. That's a simple, right? You've been telling yourself that for 50 years or so, right? So therefore,
probably longer,
So when the time you started, which was about 100 years ago or something like that. So as soon as Godzilla gets to America and climbs the Empire State Building, right? That's it. There's nothing else to do because you are the king of the world.
Well,
that's why you got problems.
They went to Hong Kong, right? Because it's a movie, right? It's not real life, right?
Yeah, but he wanted to know why. Just let him know where the problem is. Once you've climbed the Empire State Building, they can't go anywhere other than space. So that's what they did. They went to Hollow Earth.
So space aliens are next. Got it.
Or we went to Hollow Earth. That's fine, because that's another parallel universe. That's the only way you can go.
There were monsters in the other monsters in the Hollow Earth. So
that's true.
Yeah. So he can go there now, and he's gonna go like the dwarfs, right, in that Hobbit thing, and he's gonna go on the lost quest for his family that have been like kept by the little spider crab things. Did you see the little spider crabs?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
When he got there, yes.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you where you could go with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Again, I have no idea. I didn't know I needed Godzilla vs Kong until I got it. So if they can find something.
You didn't know you needed spider crabs to give them to you.
I didn't know I needed spider crabs or lizard or snakes for wings. I mean, I didn't know I needed
that one was cool because he couldn't win that. That was genius.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the humans, he would have.
And did you see what he did? He turned him back into an envelope.
He folded it up.
Yeah, he did. That was really good. And
that was good.
Yeah. That whole thing in Hollow Earth was, I thought, great. I felt they kind of rushed that story though.
Yes.
I mean, they touch upon it briefly, well, not so much briefly, but they touch upon it in Kong Skull Island, the whole Hollow Earth. But then when they introduce the one doctor and he's supposed to be leading the expedition, they talk about, oh yeah, your brother's team tried to go. And I just felt that whole backstory of them trying to go and everything was just rushed. And I get it. They were setting it up to go to Hollow Earth, but you talked about it in Kong Skull Island. Did you need to include another reference that you rushed?
They talked about it. They did talk about it in Godzilla, King of the Monsters as well, but they didn't go there. But they did say that where Godzilla was going to rejuvenate, they call that Hollow Earth theory. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And all the tunnels that went through the Earth, how we got from one side of the world to the other, they call that the Hollow Earth theory. So they've just made more of it this time. You
No,
know?
but he was saying that they keep it. You are right. In each movie, they're putting in vague references and they're not doing anything with it. So this is another movie where they've gone and said something about Hollow Earth and then done nothing with it. What's the point of keep doing that? That's just like starting Spider-Man again and again and again.
Yeah, it's like they were just bringing it up to introduce that one, the guy character, so because his brother went on the expedition and was lost, and
Yeah.
you didn't need that story. You could have just said, "Hey, we need someone to lead the expedition. Bring him in."
Yeah.
Yeah, like that weird woman that was just very rude to Kong. I'm glad she died in the end, but still, what was she there for? So they just give this pretty woman some lines. She doesn't sit there to just be pretty or something.
Well,
I mean, she was hot.
She did
Yeah, that's what she was there for. End of story. We worked it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I get it. She was like the Apex CEO's daughter, but I mean,
it was
it could have
unnecessary.
just been, I don't know.
Because
there were so many things that were unnecessary, but that's why if you're nitpicking, I gave it like a 7, maybe 7.5. But if you're basing it on just the movie experience and what you get, the movie's, I don't know if it's a 10, but it's like
I was talking a 10 as in its genre, for what you expect it to be. It's not going up against the Marvels, but it's going up against, we had quite a few of these type of shows like Transformers. You seem like in the same category as those ones. So when I'm thinking about those types of shows and the CGI they do, maybe not a 10. We're very close.
Yeah, I mean, like the first Transformers.
I was going to say, if you're comparing it to something like Transformers or even the Pacific Rim movies.
Yes, specific. There you go.
This one is definitely.
I think this one was better than Pacific Rim.
Tied with the first Transformers, because I think the first Transformers was the best, but the rest of the Transformer movies and the Pacific Rim movies, this one's better than Pacific Rim. This one's even better than Godzilla, King of Monsters, and Kong Skull Island, I feel, as far as what you get from it.
Yes.
Pacing was good. Pacing was good.
Because we actually moved past damsel in distress, and that takes up forever. So that's what Kong Skull Island was still doing that, But once we've gone past that now, we just get down to kick ass. They didn't have to do any of that.
And we saw the monsters, the Titans, at the very beginning. We didn't have to wait 45 minutes. We saw them, and every 15, 20 minutes, something was happening. The old Marvel analogy, which is every 15, 20 minutes, something happens, as opposed to leading up to a long story.
It's changed because what everybody's forgetting is that the people that are making it are also watching people, right? So they know that everybody's attention span has literally gone down by minimum 50% since a year ago. So the fact is, you can never ever make a Skull Island again. I watch TV and everything's boring now. I watch YouTube and I speed it all up to 1.25, because people speak too slow. We've been dumbed down, so therefore, whereas before we would have had half an hour of talking before you get some action, now they know you've got to give us action straight away, we're turning off. So it's gonna be harder and harder and more unfair, but we're gonna do it when we are critiquing and then comparing it to something from 10 years ago. It's never really fair. Because they had much more time to explain the story, we would have allowed them, because we wouldn't give them that time to have that story and dialogue anymore.
I don't know, but even with the first Godzilla that they did in this series anyway, it started out somewhat with action because you had that nuclear facility that was being destroyed, but then you get a long, drawn out just story of nothing. And then finally, you get the monsters coming out, and then Godzilla goes to fight them. So that whole middle part of the movie was just dull.
But that's what we was used to. That's what I'm saying. That was our standard, right?
I don't know. I didn't enjoy that at all.
I'm not saying I enjoyed it. I'm just saying, if you think about a lot of movies, that was quite standard. Even in the Superman right now, what did we get? We just got imagine an hour and a half to talk. So that was our standard.
Man of Steel. It was. It was. I love the movie, but it was.
I could go for listen. You know better than me. If you really think about it, right? There's always these long dialogue parts and lots of talking. They don't need. If there's not loads of talking, a lot of posing. So it's now changing, where they're like, no, we're gonna give them action a bit at the start, and
I guess with some things it works. I feel maybe that's why I was a little underwhelmed with the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I felt like it started out kind of dull and draggy, but looking back on it, I'm like, well, yeah, they have to fill you in on what's happened since Endgame.
Yeah.
Where is Bucky? You know, where is Sam? Where has everyone been? What have they been up to?
Yeah.
Up to this. So I'm like, okay, I get it. It could be draggy, but you have to set the story. You know, one of my favorite things of all time is Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And everyone always knocks episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Nobody really likes that one. And I look at it and I'm like, well, yeah, I get it. It's not, you know, what you've come to expect, but this is the beginning of the story of this universe that everyone now loves. If it wasn't for episode 1, you wouldn't have every other episode after that. So I don't know. I get the draggy talking sometimes, but I could really do without it, or some kind of an intermission of action.
Yeah, but I think they're going to learn and do better. You know, I think that's what we're heading towards. A more
Yeah.
They've got to, got
heart-pumping,
cancel culture.
yeah, heart-pumping,
You know.
entertaining movie. But we all enjoyed it. You know,
Yes.
I think we all enjoyed Godzilla versus Kong.
I think everyone has. I don't really think I've heard anything bad about it.
That's
So
good. Well, Chris, it's been fantastic. I
yes, it
think
has.
we'll catch up and do another movie review very soon.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks very much, Chris. And we'll encourage everyone to go and look at Chris's channel, Movie Time with Chris, on YouTube and on Instagram. Give him a like and subscribe. And also to us, the two dreadies. And we hope.
And I will do the same. Yes, I will definitely let all of my followers know to check you guys out, to watch this video and all of your guys' videos, because they're so entertaining.
Thank you very much. We
Have
appreciate
fun
it.
across the pond.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Yeah.
Love it.
Take care. We'll catch you again soon. Bye.
All right, take care.